Much. Let's get to the markets. Big day yesterday. Nice gains, a 69th record close for the S&P. And right now in the pre-market, as you can see, the Dow, S&P and NASDAQ just above the waterline, as we like to say, some very modest gains. And also, let's bring in David Nicholas if we can. David, good morning to you. JP Morgan says investors are too bearish and there is no sell-off in sight, which is an interesting statement. What say you?
You know, Ashley, I agree with that. I mean, if you look at the S&P right now, 30% of the names in the S&P 500 are trading below their 200-day moving average. So we've seen a sell-off. We just haven't seen it in the larger indexes. And so I think when Omicron news, when the news of the new variant came out, the markets overreacted. Markets can tend to do that. They're very emotional in the short term. And I remember saying to myself, this is not going to last. Hopefully this will abate. And we're already seeing some of that. So I think there were a lot of names that have been beaten up recently that investors should take a second look at.
All right, and let's get to some of those. I wanted to talk about some of your stock picks here. Let's begin with a surprise for me. Southwest Airlines, they're going through a very tough time right now, like all the airlines.
Absolutely. You know, actually, they're trading 21% below their 200-day moving average. But Southwest has a domestic model that I think is going to be less impacted by travel restrictions. I mean, Dr. Fauci, you guys were just talking about it, just said that Americans should need a vaccine to board a plane. I think that's crazy. That would be devastating for the U.S. airline market. That's never going to happen. But as travel opens back up, it is great for a name like Southwest. One last thing about them is their balance sheet. They're sitting on almost $4 billion in cash. When the pandemic started, they had about $1.5 billion. So they have very strong financials. I think they're going to do very well as travel starts to open back up.
Very good. As you can see, the next one on the list, Best Buy. I think electronic sales were not particularly robust this holiday season. Why do you like Best Buy?
You know, actually, there's this narrative right now that consumers aren't going to go out and buy electronics like they did early in the pandemic. I think that's somewhat overblown. I actually think as the supply chain issues abate, it's going to do great for a name like Best Buy. Me and my wife were looking for a dishwasher. Actually, our dishwasher broke. Do you know how miserable it is to wash dishes by hand? We've been looking for a certain dishwasher, couldn't find it. I went online the day after Christmas. They've got them back in stock. So I think that's a very positive sign that they're getting more inventory. That should bode well for the stock going to 2022.
All right, David, thank you very much. We're going to talk about Boeing, but your pick is noted. We have to move on. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. We do appreciate it. And good luck with the dishwashing.